Avijit Roy lost his life on February 26, 2015, in the streets of Dhaka after he was attacked with a machete. His wife, Bonya Ahmed, lives on with grave injuries. 4 years later, investigations into his murder are still ongoing and nowhere near complete. In fact, the trial hasn't even begun yet. Even though the American FBI was involved in the investigations, the deadline to produce the charge sheet was recently extended for the 41st time. With luck, the trial will start by March 2019. This piece is an attempt to be a cornerstone, a point of orientation, to grab hold of the many facets of the political and societal chaos Bangladesh has come to find itself in. This is a memorandum, a tribute. In the end, I do not know if anything I say can do justice to the context. Avijit's murder is not only symbolic of the worrying situation of human rights in a country I have come to care about, but his death is also something that agitates me. By now, I am not following the criminal investigations because I want to make a point about rule of law in Bangladesh, but because the picture of blood spreading onto the sidewalk has been burnt into my memory. I would like to set up the context first. Avijit Roy was a Bengali American author, a secularist, an atheist. His name featured on a 2013 list of people radical Islamists wanted to see dead. Both the militant group Ansarullah Bangla Team, ABT, and the Islamic State, IS, have claimed responsibility for the murder of not only him, but also Washikur Babu, Nilandri Niloy, Ahmed Rajib Haidar, and many more. Following the fatalities in 2015, police and special anti-terrorist forces managed to detain 3 individuals: Shahryar, alias Sayman, Abu Siddiq, alias Sohel, and Arafat Hussain, alias Shams, who all confessed to participation in the murder and disclosed the names of so many others involved. The government even launched a crackdown on terrorists, arresting thousands of alleged militants and killing primary suspects in crossfires that may or may not have violated the right to a fair trial. The question that bugs me is why a government that is well known for targeting journalists and liberal thinkers would even put up the pretense of investigating the murders of the very same people. One discovery helped me understand a bit better what the motivations might be. The government claims that ABT, the alleged attackers, worked together with certain extremist political parties in the opposition and target political opponents to indirectly weaken the government. Simply put, the Bangladeshi government wants to get to the core of the murders to avoid losing power. Being degraded to the position of the opposition is a real threat for them, as stepping down as politicians could mean later being sentenced to death for defamation. On the bright side, at least, the government under Sheikh Hasina at least has some incentive to look into the murder case of Avijit Roy. On the other hand, one thing becomes apparent. Superficially, the debate may be about Islam versus atheism. But at the core, it is power and panic that are fueling the violence. It is no news that Bangladesh is a country of extremes, a country born out of violence, temporarily ruled by a military regime, and guided by weak institutions. But the violence at the core of how Avijit came to be murdered is not just political. Violence is the linking element in a web of religion, politics, and person-to-person interactions. Violence is the path taken by those who need to find a purpose in a spiral of panic. International free speech standards mean little to the average person worried about losing their ability to navigate their lives. In fact, in a society marred by violence, dissent, and struggles to get by, fostering constructive debate is an immense effort that only few can be expected to take. Yet, academic analyses of the societal and political climate in Bangladesh have been done. Spirals of political oppression and institutionalized violence as the way of doing things have been explained, and the resurgence of Islamism has been researched, and government reactions to bloggers have been published all over the internet. Whatever I would produce here has already been done. Even if I found new answers, what good would it do? Would it bring him back? Would it justify the murder? Would it help Bonya, his wife, live with the trauma? My only hope is that trying to understand the underlying dynamics can contribute to a well-grounded, objective assessment of the situation, on the basis of which Bangladesh can maybe become a safer place in the future for others. An objective analysis is not what we need right now, as victims, and friends of victims, and supporters of victims. Let us now think in people, not in political strategies. We have a right to mourn.